Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. October 17th, 2017.
This morning, I called Bob and Janny Bergdahl and told them that after nearly 5 years in captivity, their son Bo is coming home.
He's a traitor, a no-good traitor.
106 here on the great WRKO. Okay, Bo Bergdahl pleads guilty to desertion and misbehavior in the face of the enemy, but adamantly insists, no, he's not a traitor. But first, my friends, before I get to that story, I don't want to say I told you so, but the Kuhner man has been proven right once again. Why? On what? You've got to listen in at 2:05. Ay. Anyway, I just want to say, the Kuhner man, again, has proven to be true. But first, well, Bo Bergdahl. So, as you know, Bo Bergdahl was allegedly captured by the Taliban. He was held for 5 years. He was released in 2014 in exchange for 5 Taliban prisoners who were being held in Guantanamo Bay. In fact, these 5 Taliban were senior generals within the Taliban. They were one of the cream of the echelon, the military echelon of the Taliban. And the reason why they supposedly had to be released from Guantanamo in a swap was because, according to the dear leader, President Barack Hussein Obama, the Democrats, and the entire liberal media, Bo Bergdahl, he was a prisoner of war. According to them, we don't leave no man behind. And so, no matter how many of the Taliban we gave away, no matter how senior they were in terms of their military leadership, no price was too small to pay. We had to give them away to free Bo Bergdahl. And what did many of us argue at the time? The evidence was overwhelming. That Bergdahl was a traitor. That Bergdahl, in fact, and his platoon admitted to this, deserted his post. He was not captured. He deserted his post, ran off, left his people behind, and then ran into the Taliban, was held in captivity, so he says, for 5 years. However, during his captivity, he converted to Islam. He mastered Pashtun. A video was released of him playing soccer with Taliban fighters and their children. And there are reports that he really didn't want to leave. And then eventually this deal was cut in which Obama, right there at the Rose Garden, beside Bo Bergdahl's father, gloated about what a success this was, and that he and others, he, the Democrats, the media, were praising as a hero. A hero. Listen now to Obama and Bo Bergdahl's father on that fateful day when they knew that Bergdahl had finally been freed. Roll it, Brittany.
This morning, I called Bob and Janny Bergdahl and told them that after nearly 5 years in captivity, their son Bo is coming home. Sergeant Bergdahl has missed birthdays and holidays and the simple moments with family and friends, which all of us take for granted. But while Bo was gone, he was never forgotten. His parents thought about him and prayed for him every single day, as did his sister Sky, who prayed for his safe return. He wasn't forgotten by his community in Idaho or the military, which rallied to support the Bergdahls through thick and thin. And he wasn't forgotten by his country, because the United States of America does not ever leave our men and women in uniform behind.
Unless you're in Benghazi. You see, when they were in Benghazi and they were twisting in the wind and the call after call after call, we're under terrorist attack. Al-Qaeda is hitting us. The compound is on fire. People are down. We need help. Then the cavalry never arrived. Then, in fact, you, Mr. President, you told them, stand down. When the cavalry wanted to come, stand down. That's what you said. That's what Hillary Clinton said. So, if you're an American patriot, don't even take my word for it. Ask Tonto Peranto. He was there. He was in the gunfight. If you're an American patriot, blank you, buddy. But if you're a Muslim convert, oh, we don't leave anybody behind. No. In fact, we'll even give you 5 of the most dangerous Taliban senior commanders. So, when the dear leader finished, up came the old man, Bo Bergdahl's father. This was really bizarre. Remember this?
I'd like to say to Bo right now, who's having trouble speaking English, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Zayabayem. I'm your father, Bo. The people of Afghanistan, the same. Khalifa al-Thani, the complicated nature of this recovery will never really be comprehended. To each and every single one who affected this in this country, in the service branches, at the State Department, throughout the whole of American government, and around the world at international governments around the world. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, well, they moved heaven and earth for him. Under the dear leader, they moved heaven and earth for this guy. Hakim Halam Halani. My son, I don't know how you can forget speaking English, but let that go. I'd
like to say to Bo right now, who's having trouble speaking English, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Zayabayem. I'm your father, Bo.
Azerbaijan, jihad. Death to America. Allah. Sorry, I get a little carried away sometimes. I'm sorry. So, honestly, a sickening spectacle now that we know everything that transpired. So, Trump rightly, on the campaign trail said, Bo Bergdahl is a traitor. Bo Bergdahl deserted his post. And in a different era, Bo Bergdahl would be executed.
He's a traitor, a no-good traitor.
So, Bo Bergdahl yesterday pled guilty. Guilty. Remember, he wasn't found guilty. He admitted it. He pled guilty. He pled guilty to 2 things. Number 1, deserting his post. Desertion. He then pled guilty, number 2, to misbehavior in the face of the enemy. Desertion carries a possible penalty of up to 5 years in prison. Misbehavior in the face of the enemy carries a penalty of up to life in prison. And so Bo Bergdahl was interviewed by a British filmmaker. And this British filmmaker, Sean Langan, they finally aired this interview, which was aired yesterday on ABC's Good Morning America. Now, listen to this freaking ingrate. This guy is claiming that he's the victim. Listen now to Bo Bergdahl say, how dare you call me a traitor, and actually takes a swipe at President Trump. Roll it, Brittany.
We may as well go back to kangaroo courts and lynch mobs that got what they wanted. The people who are to the point of saying, yeah, just shoot them, you can never convince those people to change their minds. And
it hurts, though.
It does hurt. It's insulting. It's very insulting, the idea that they will think I did that.
It's insulting? Okay, first of all, just for the record, okay? What Trump said is 1,000% factually accurate. In another era, desertion and treason, you would get the death penalty. You're shot. Or the electric chair or whatever, okay? So, number 1, what he said was 1,000% factually accurate, okay? But let that go. Let me get this straight. You're insulted. You who abandoned your post, you who went over to the enemy, you who stood there in captivity and converted to Islam, you, and this is the kicker, there was a search and recovery mission that had to take place. Firefights then ensued with the Taliban as people on our forces were out there looking for him. Had he been kidnapped? They weren't sure. Had he been captured by the Taliban in the middle of the night? Had they come into the post and dragged him and taken him away? They weren't sure. So they were desperately looking for him. 3 American soldiers died. They gave their life to look for your ungrateful rear end. And on top of that, this needs to be said, 2 others are now permanently crippled. One was shot in a Taliban firefight, badly damaged in both legs. He now has to remain in a wheelchair. The other one was literally shot in the head, shot in the brain, as they were scouting the area around the command post. He suffered such severe brain damage, he is now in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. And you're insulted. You're insulted. 3 dead, 2 in a wheelchair, and you're insulted. You're the victim. Now, you say, well, I'm not a traitor. I'm just not a traitor. I'm not a traitor. No, you're G.I. Joe. No, I get it. No, you're G.I. Joe. I know what the liberals are saying about you. You're G.I. Joe. No, you're a freaking hero. You're G.I. Joe. You know, so here is a guy who deserts his post, deserts to the enemy, but he's not a traitor. Well, in that case, according to the liberals, the way they define the world and Bo Bergdahl, I'll tell you what, I'm 21 years old. No, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm 21 years old. I'm 195 pounds. I've got a beautiful full head of hair, and I'm on my motorcycle, baby. I'm James Dean. No, I'm telling you. I'm not 260, balding, 48. No. I'm James Dean. Jeff Kuhner is James Dean. I said this to Jared when we talked about the show today. I said, Jared, you know what Bo Bergdahl is now doing? It is the equivalent of, let's say, for the sake of argument, you and I, we go raid the secret vault at Entercom. They're the company that owns us. I don't even know if they have a vault, but just for the sake of argument. They got a huge vault full of cash. And we're just pouring the cash into the duffel bags. We're just stuffing the cash into the duffel bags. And then they catch us. And we turn around and say, oops. Okay, yeah, we're guilty. Okay, I plead guilty. Yeah, we took the money. We stuffed it into the duffel bags. Yes, I'm guilty of taking the money and stuffing it into the duffel bags. But you don't understand. I didn't mean any harm. It was an accident. I wasn't in the right state of mind. I was confused. I've got bills to pay. I got kids to put through school. It's just, you don't understand my condition, the psychological, mental condition I was under. What do you mean I'm a crook? Don't you? Hey, you don't call me a crook. You don't call me a criminal. You don't call me a thief. That's insulting. No, don't you dare say that. That's what this guy's trying to tell us. That a traitor is not a traitor. And if you call him a traitor, it's a microaggression.
It's insulting.
It's insulting.
It's
the guy's just been triggered.
Insulting the idea that they don't think I did that.
Just incredible. No, so he's the victim. This is what I find. I find this incredible. So, I mean, you couldn't make this up. This guy, let me tell you this guy belongs on a college campus. Oh, he's perfect to be one of these millennial snowflakes. I mean, you've almost like got a central casting. This guy, no, you put him on campus, and then when they burn and plunder and pillage and, assault people, then when you hold them accountable, they're the victims. You're the bad guy, they're the good guy. My question to you is this. Bo Bergdahl, is he a traitor? Number one. And number two, he's not going to get it. But should he get the death penalty? Is Trump right? In another age, should somebody like him be shot? I say yes. What do you say? 617-266-6868. And Obama, the liberals, and the media, they hailed him as a hero. Now he pleads guilty, guilty, guilty. Should they be ashamed of themselves? Your calls, your reaction, next.
Sergeant Bergdahl wasn't simply a hostage. He was an American prisoner of war, captured on the battlefield. He served the United States with honor and distinction.
And that's another lie by Susan Rice. Well, I got to tell you, though, say what you want about her. That woman can lie. Whoa. Talk about a professional liar. So, like Benghazi, no, Susan, he's a deserter. He's a traitor. He just pled guilty to desertion and misbehavior in the face of the enemy. He didn't serve with honor and distinction, but that's okay. You guys lie for a living. 617-266-6868. Bill, you're up first. Go ahead, Bill. We just lost Bill. Let's go to Jerry on the Cape. Go ahead, Jerry.
Comrade.
Jerry, how you are, my friend?
Elaine, give me a cold compress and a Jack Daniels pronto. Jeff, treason, by definition, is the penalty is hung by the neck until dead or death by a firing squad. He admitted that he deserted. He should get life plus 5 years for misbehavior before the enemy, which he admitted to doing. He sought out the Taliban. Life plus 5 years. We have no evidence that he committed treason, though, Jeff. But in my mind, he is a traitor because he said he was ashamed to be an American. And he empathizes with the Taliban. He sought them out, Jeff.
Jerry, I'm just curious. How come there have been no repercussions for Obama, Susan Rice, the media, liberals, Democrats, who lionized this guy, celebrated this guy, and gave away 5 of the top Taliban senior commanders, many of whom, as you know, are back in the battlefield. God knows how many people they're killing. How come there's been no accountability for any of them?
I can't answer that, Jeff. I think it's because they're all in cahoots together. The media, the left is the media. They're all, in the same circle. But, Jeff, you know what? The bottom line is this. He says he's ashamed to be an American. He ought to be.
That's a very good point. He really is. He's a disgraceful American. And for him now to play the victim card after so many people died looking for him and others crippled and maimed because they had to get into gunfights with the Taliban. Talk about chutzpah. You want to talk about chutzpah. This is chutzpah. Okay, my friends. So, speaking of chutzpah, Colin Kaepernick is now back in the news. I swear to you. This time, he is suing the NFL because he says they're colluding to not hire him. And not only they're colluding to not hire him, listen to this. He ultimately says Donald Trump is to blame for why nobody wants to pick up his contract and sign him. Again, he says he's insulted. I swear to you. So, should the NFL hire Colin Kaepernick, and is Trump responsible for Colin Kaepernick's inability to get a contract? That story, your calls. But first, let's take it to Evan Heidrich in the newsroom.
I think it's a terrible thing. And, maybe you should find a country that works better for him. Let him try. It won't happen.
136 here on the great WRKO. You know, my friends, what I think is absolutely remarkable, and I think it really just shows how badly divided this country is, where, to me, there's one half of the country that's in reality, the conservative half, to be candid, and the other, the liberal or the leftist half, which lives on a different planet, is how the left and the media, by the way, led by Hillary Clinton, unbelievably, I'm going to play the clip. You're not going to believe this. You got to hear it to believe it. They're turning Colin Kaepernick into a martyr. The guy literally is now being turned into a progressive martyr. And so, as you know, he is the one that began this trend, which is now on the verge of maybe destroying the NFL. The numbers are very bad. Ratings are down. Ticket prices are down 20, 30%. Stadiums in week 6, I've got the story right in front of me. I mean, right here, I'm staring at half-empty stadiums in games across the entire country. You literally now have half-empty stadiums. And so here you have a guy who started this tradition, or whatever you want to call it, this sign of protest, by first he wanted to sit on the bench, then he began to kneel. And the reason why he was kneeling was, as he said, he released a statement on this, he will not stand and he refuses to stand for a flag and an anthem that he says perpetuates racism and racial inequality and police brutality in America. So he says, I took a knee to protest the flag, the anthem, and the country that it represents. And so now you have players either locking arms, they're kneeling, they've got the Black Power fist salute, whatever it is, it's now spreading like a cancer across the NFL. And this guy, like Bo Bergdahl, this guy is claiming he's a victim. So, nobody wants to hire him, and I'll tell you why. It's really very simple. He sucks. He's 34 years of age. He was a backup at San Francisco when he played. By the way, he was making $1 million a game. $16 million a year to literally sit his rear end on a bench. You know, boy, hey, if that's slavery, somebody put the chains on me, baby. If that's racism and oppression, can somebody please oppress me? I need some more of that kind of oppression. Please. But let that go. The guy sucks. He can't play. He's a washed-up has-been. And on top of that, he becomes now a social justice warrior, an all-out activist. All this guy does now is disrupt your locker room, disrupt your team, alienate your fan base. Of course, if you're an owner, the guy's toxic. Who wants him? He can't play. And on top of that, he's going to come in and literally stink up your team, stink up your locker room, and drive away the paying customers. I mean, honestly, if you're an owner, I mean, I know some of them are moonbats, but even moonbats can read the bottom line. If you're an owner, you are crazy to hire this guy. Okay, you're a lunatic if you hire this guy. So now nobody wants him. You know, you wonder why. Nobody wants him. Well, he's now gone all in. Instead of saying, maybe it's me. Maybe it's my radical Muslim girlfriend who kept pushing me to take a knee and protest, and America's evil, and the cops are brutal, and police brutality, and racism, and racial inequality, blah, 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 blah. Instead of saying, maybe we were wrong, maybe, when you're making $15, $20 million a year, and you're basically sitting your rear end on a bench, no other country in the world would allow that. No country would be that good to me. But no, he's the aggrieved one. He's the victim. So what does the victim do? Listen to this. He now has hired a hotshot lawyer, Mark Garagos, who, by the way, is not cheap. This guy, you ought to pay this guy a lot of money for him to be your lawyer. And so now he is filing a suit. He's filing a lawsuit claiming that the NFL, the owners, are colluding against him. And that he's basically telling them they have to hire me. Somebody's got to pick up my contract, and all of the owners he claims are involved in a massive conspiracy. They're colluding not to hire him. And so he's demanding that somebody on the NFL hire him. And on top of that, not only that they must hire him, but listen to this. He says ultimately in a statement released by his lawyer, he blames President Trump. Had President Trump not singled him out, had President Trump not said that what he did was shameful and disgraceful, he says none of this would have happened to him. So in the end, the real enemy is not him, It's not the ingrates who are kneeling for the national anthem and disrespecting our flag. No, 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 no. The ultimate bad guy, the enemy, is the President of the United States. You know, the guy who called him out. The guy who held him accountable. And as all of this is taking place, you want to see a brand blow up in front of your face. The only one that's done it faster is Harvey Weinstein. Okay, I've never seen a guy or a brand blow up that quickly. But outside of Harvey Weinstein, number 2 on the list is the National Football League. Or as I like to call them, the National Felons League. Because their brand, their popularity, their ratings, it is now dropping like a stone. So, who rides to Colin Kaepernick's rescue? You got it. Hillary Rotten. Listen now to Hillary. Asked about Colin Kaepernick as she's plugging her book. By the way, she broke her toe. She fell down some stairs. She's in crutches. She has a boot. But anyway, it doesn't matter. With the crutches, with the boot, there she is saying, I stand with Colin. Resist, resist, resist. Because this is not ultimately about racism. No, no. It's about standing up to the evil Trump. Roll it, Brittany.
So you have to resist what are very clear, what we call dog whistles to that base. That's what the black athletes kneeling was about. That was not against our anthem or our flag. That was actually, kneeling is a reverent position. It was to demonstrate in a peaceful way against racism and injustice in our criminal system. I think it would be a grave error for Democrats to recede from those fights. And so therefore we have to stand up, fight back, resist.
Yeah, fight back, resist, resist, resist. So what she's basically admitting is that the left is politicizing the NFL. She's openly now admitting it. What the left is now doing, what liberals want to do, is they want to bring their ideology and politicize the NFL. Politicize them towards what? To oppose Trump. To oppose Trump, to oppose Trump's agenda, because God forbid you should call out spoiled multimillionaire athletes who disrespect our flag. Because you see, when they take a knee, it's reverence. You get it? When they take a knee, no, they're respecting the flag. When they don't stand and put the helmet under their left arm, as they're told to do in the rule book, and put their right hand on their heart, when they just when they just kneel, that's a very reverential position. No, they're respecting the flag. They're respecting the national anthem. I don't know what the hell's wrong with you guys. But come on now. See, look, when they take a dump on the flag, no. When I go to the toilet, that's when I'm most authentic and true and real to myself. That's the real me that's coming out of me. Okay? So when I'm dumping on the flag, I'm not disrespecting the flag. I'm respecting the flag. It's the highest form of freaking respect. What's the matter with you people? What are you getting so upset over? So why did Colin, just to show you how ridiculous this is, we have Colin Kaepernick's statement. I will not stand. Why will you not stand? Because I cannot stand for a flag and an anthem and a country that it represents, which engages in racism and oppression of all kinds of minorities and excuses police brutality. So he's telling you to your freaking face that I will not respect the country, the anthem, and the flag. And they're trying to tell us, no, it's reverential. There's an old Russian saying, don't pee on my back and call it rain. Okay? Don't stand there and pee away, urinate on my back, or in this case, the flag, and tell me it's just rain. Okay? I know you think we deplorables are stupid, but we're not that stupid. 617-266-6868. So, when Trump found out yesterday at the press conference that Hillary Clinton actually endorses Colin Kaepernick and actually supports all of these athletes insulting, degrading, and spitting on our flag, anthem, and those that fought and died for it. Listen to what he says.
Why? Oh, I hope Hillary runs. Is she going to run? I hope. Hillary, please run again. Go ahead.
I mean, please. That's what I would be saying. You think that argument's going to fly? You know, with people who have their heads and minds tethered to reality? I don't think so. To us in the normal world, we know what a kneel means. We know what locking arms means. We know what raising the black power salute fist means. We know what sitting on the bench means. So, now, as for his First Amendment rights, okay, let me destroy that argument and then I'll take your calls. No one says he doesn't have the right to do it. They keep saying this over and over again, as if somehow they're making some kind of grand point. It's just they don't want us to be offended. You see, if you listen to Hillary's, the cut that I played of Hillary, what is she saying? Why are you being offended by this? Like, you shouldn't be offended. Well, hold on. He has the right to be offensive, but I don't have the right to be offended? In other words, you want me to believe you and not my eyes? So, it's very simple. You want to kneel? Kneel. You want to sit? Sit. You want to raise a black power salute? You want to lock arms? Hell, you don't even want to show up for the anthem if that's too much for you guys. Stay in the freaking locker room. I'm not kidding. Guys, you want to moon the flag from the sidelines. If that's what you guys want to do, I'm telling you, go ahead and do it. Don't blame us for not going to the games. Don't blame us for turning the dial, because we have that right too. No, it's not a dictatorship, at least not yet. Now, furthermore, these guys can't even hop in the end zone when they score a touchdown. They can't dance in the end zone. There are 1,000,001 things. They can't wear decals. They can't wear stickers. They can't express themselves in 1,000,000 different ways. Their owners say that's verboten, forbidden. So let me get this straight. These guys can give the middle finger. These guys, I mean, in theory, they can't give the middle finger. They can't hop. They can't dance. They can't wear decals. They can't wear stickers. They can't do all sorts of things on the field. But it's okay to kneel against the flag? When you kneel, somehow it's fascism to tell them to stand up? Whoa, 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 whoa. If they can control and regulate their behavior in uniform, on field, on all sorts of things, why not kneeling for the flag? Now, final point. I played the clip. I don't want to play it again. There's no need. When the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton, recently made a ridiculous, stupid, sexist joke about a female reporter asking him questions about the routes that he was throwing to some of his receivers. And he said, oh, you're a girl, or whatever, you're a woman, however he phrased it. You're talking in football language. And he was giggling and laughing. Everybody condemned him. His coach, the owner, the league, Roger Goodell, the entire media, everybody condemned him. In fact, they forced him to issue a public apology. Whoa, 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 whoa. What about his freedom of speech? Guys, your rules, not mine. So the players can kneel. They can spit and dump on the flag, on the anthem, on those that fought and died for this country. That's okay. But you can't crack a joke? No, 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 no. How come nobody was rushing to defend his free speech rights when it goes up against political correctness? Sometimes when it suits you, when it's bashing America, when it's bashing patriotism, when it's bashing the military, then you're okay with that kind of speech. But if it goes against political correctness, no, 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 no. There's a word for that. It's called hypocrite. 617-266-6868 is the number. Let me ask you this. Hillary Clinton now picks up the cause of Colin Kaepernick. Why is the left turning him into a progressive martyr? Will this blow up in their face? And does Kaepernick have the right to sue the NFL for collusion? Do they owe this guy a stinking contract? I say no. What do you say? All of your calls. Next.
But when you take a knee, that's why she lost the election. I mean, honestly, it's that thinking. That is the reason she lost the election. When you go down and take a knee or any other way, you're sitting, essentially, for our great national anthem. You're disrespecting our flag, and you're disrespecting our country.
Trump yesterday at his press conference, 1,000% correct about Hillary now supporting Colin Kaepernick, and now saying, believe it or not, this is, you see, they're trying to prevent the country from being offended. To me, the genie's already left the bottle, okay? The train's left the station here. But they're so desperate now to stop the hemorrhaging. No. Taking a knee during the anthem, that's not disrespectful. It's respectful. Okay, so you know what I'm going to do now? No, I'm not kidding. Forget it. What the hell? I'm going to become a liberal. I want to go see this. I'm going to go see Phil. I'm going to see the station manager, and I'm just going to moon him. What the hell? What the hell? Say, Phil, Phil, I'm not disrespecting you, Phil. I'm respecting you. Better yet, we'll do it to the PD, Michael. Tomorrow at the meeting, I'll go, hey, Michael, Mikey, and I'll just moon him, and I'll wiggle my rear end. Go, Mike, no, hey, you may think that's disrespectful. No, according to Hillary, it's the greatest sign of respect.
Please don't.
You know how many women would kill to see that rear end? Come on, I'm paying you the highest compliment, for God's sakes. What are you saying, Brittany? No, don't do it.
No one wants to see your rear end, Jeff.
I mean, I swear, you couldn't make this stuff up with these moonbats. CJ in Boston. Go ahead, CJ.
Jeff, thanks for taking my call. I
pleasure.
think that Kuhner could make Bergdahl an excellent roommate at Camp Leavenworth. But seriously speaking, this Sunday, I would hope that the anti-American, anti-patriotic owners and players of the NFL will not only take one knee, they should take two knees, put their hands together, burgers at McDonald's.
Amen, brother. I mean, really, honestly, what other country but in America that you can get paid $10, $15, $20 million a year to play a game? I mean, to me, forget standing for the national anthem. I'm not kidding. I make $1 million to sit on the bench like this guy. No, I'm not standing. This is me. Jeff, you're making a fool of yourself. Stop kissing the flag, for God's sakes. I go, no, you don't understand that. I don't do anything, and I'm being paid $1 million a year. This is the greatest country in the history of the world. I just got a text from our PD, Michael. He says, please, don't have me see your rear end tomorrow at the meeting. But no, Michael, it's a sign of respect. Come on now. Coming up next, the Kuhner man vindicated again. Huge story. Don't touch that dial.
The voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 93.7 WEEI HD2 Lawrence, Boston. It's 2 o'clock.